There's really nothing that gets a parent's heart racing quite like that moment your child suddenly feels hot to the touch, they get fussy, and you see that number on the thermometer just keep climbing. It's that awful feeling of uncertainty and worry, right? We've all been there. So today, we're going to demystify one of the most common reasons this happens: viral fever.
I mean, your heart just starts pounding, and a million questions pop into your head. Is this serious? Do we need the hospital? What can I do right now? Well, we're going to tackle all of that. But first, let's get a handle on what's actually going on inside your little one's body.
Okay, so the most common culprit, the usual suspect behind these sudden fevers, especially when the seasons are changing, it's something called a viral fever. In Vietnamese, you'll hear it called sốt siêu vi, and it's basically an umbrella term for any fever that's sparked by a viral infection. Now, this is a super important point. The fever itself, it's not the illness. Think of it more like an alarm bell and a weapon. It's actually a sign that your child's body is fighting back. Their immune system is cranking up the heat to make it a really uncomfortable place for those invading viruses, like the common myxovirus or enterovirus. It makes it super hard for them to multiply. It's a pretty amazing and powerful defense mechanism when you think about it.
So the big question is, how long does this whole battle last? Well, viral fevers tend to hit hard and fast. You'll probably see a pretty high fever right on day one. But here's the good news. It usually starts to come down within about 3 to 5 days. For the most part, kids are feeling a whole lot better within a week as their body just handles it. It resolves on its own.
Okay, so knowing that timeline is definitely reassuring. But how can you be sure it's actually a viral fever and not something else? Good question. Let's dive into the specific signs you should be looking for. And we're talking about more than just what the thermometer says.
All right, the first and, let's be honest, the most dramatic sign is that number staring back at you from the thermometer. A viral fever can cause a really sudden high spike. We're talking 39, 40, even 41 degrees Celsius. And seeing a number that high, wow, it can be absolutely terrifying for a parent. But, and this is key, it's actually a super typical part of this kind of illness.
Yeah, it's almost never just a fever. You're usually looking at a whole collection of symptoms that come along for the ride. You've got intense body aches that can make your child super fussy and just miserable. You might see all the classic cold stuff, a cough, a runny nose, sneezing. Sometimes there's a little bit of digestive upset too. And then, a couple of days in, you might even spot a faint red rash on their skin. Oh, and don't be surprised if you notice red, watery eyes or feel some swollen glands in their neck. It can be the whole shebang.
Okay, so you've played detective, you've identified the signs, and it's looking a lot like a classic viral fever. The big question now is, what do you do? What can you do at home to help your little one feel more comfortable? Because really, this is where you come in. Your care at home is the most important treatment there is.
And this part is so important to get your head around, because this is all caused by a virus. Antibiotics are completely useless. They won't do a thing. So the game plan here isn't to go to war with the virus itself. Instead, it's all about managing the symptoms and just supporting your child's body while their own immune system does all the heavy lifting.
So let's think of your home care plan as a simple 4-step toolkit. First up, step 1, lower the fever. You can use the right dose of paracetamol, but only if the temperature gets above 38.5 degrees, and dress them in light, cool clothes. Step 2, hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. Fevers can really dehydrate them, so keep offering fluids. Step 3, nourish. Think simple, easy-to-digest foods like soups. But hey, don't force it if they're not hungry. And finally, the big one, step 4, rest. Sleep is literally when the body repairs itself. Okay, now I need you to listen really closely, because this is a critical medical warning. You might be tempted to reach for ibuprofen to get that fever down, but doctors are very clear on this. Do not use it unless you are 100% certain it's not dengue fever. Why? Well, experts from the National Children's Hospital explain that ibuprofen can actually increase the risk of serious bleeding if the child does have dengue. So to be safe, just stick with paracetamol, always. So we've talked a lot about home care, and it's your absolute first line of defense. But, and this is a big but, it is not the answer for everything. Knowing the specific red flags, the signs that mean stop what you're doing and get medical help right now, that is without a doubt the most important piece of knowledge any parent can have. So let's get crystal clear on this. What are those dangerous red flag signs? The ones that are non-negotiable, that mean it's time to head to the hospital, no questions asked? These are the signs that demand immediate action. All right, here we go.
If that fever is over 38.5 for more than 2 days and it's not responding to medicine, you go. If your child is really lethargic, super sleepy, or difficult to wake up, that is a huge warning sign. Go. If they have a seizure, that's co giật in Vietnamese, or if they're having any trouble breathing, you go. If they're vomiting over and over and can't keep any fluids down, or they have a severe headache that's just getting worse, these are all signs that something more serious could be going on. Do not wait. Go to the hospital. And listen, there is one absolutely critical exception to all this home care advice. We're talking about newborn infants. For these tiny babies, their immune systems are just so fragile. For them, any fever at all, is a reason to see a doctor immediately. It's considered a medical emergency, no exceptions, period.
Phew, okay. So, once you've navigated through the illness and everyone's breathing a sigh of relief, the next big question is, how do we try and stop this from happening again? So let's shift gears and talk about building up your child's defenses for the future.
Prevention really just boils down to a few simple, practical habits. Good nutrition is huge. It boosts their natural immunity from the inside out. Then there's fantastic hygiene. I'm talking frequent hand washing with soap. That's like their best external shield. Keeping the house clean and trying to avoid super crowded places during peak sick season can make a massive difference. And of course, if someone at home does get sick, try to isolate them a bit to keep those germs from making the rounds.
So when we talk about immunity, a child is protected in two main ways. First, they get what's called maternal immunity. Think of it as a temporary starter pack of protection passed on from mom. But for that really strong, long-lasting, targeted protection against specific dangerous viruses, well, they need to build their own active immunity. And that, my friends, is where vaccines come into play.
And here's the bottom line on prevention. Look, we can't stop every single sniffle or common cold. That's just not realistic. But what we absolutely can do, and what we absolutely should do, is prevent the really severe viral illnesses. Keeping your child fully vaccinated against diseases like measles, mumps, rubella, and Japanese encephalitis, that is the single most powerful tool you have as a parent to protect them from very serious harm.
So at the end of the day, it all comes down to this: knowledge and confidence. It's about knowing when you can provide that loving comfort at home and, just as crucially, knowing when it's time to act and get professional help. This knowledge, it doesn't make the worry magically disappear, but what it does do is replace panic with a clear plan. It transforms you from just a worried parent on the sidelines into your child's empowered, capable, and confident protector. And that, right there, is a parent's superpower.
Health is the most precious gift. If this video helped you or someone you love, please like, subscribe, and share so more families can stay safe and healthy.